Hi, folks. Jeff Jones, Vice President, UFCW Local 1459, with an update for Thursday, October 22nd. Great day campaigning out there. Thank you and kudos to all the people that I managed to bump into in the locations that we were at. I think the major thing that happened today was an exchange on the election procedure with the election chairperson. And we proposed a solution to the current predicament, which, as you know, is one place on one day at one time by one method of voting. And somehow 4,500 to 5,000 people are supposed to be able to do that 6 feet apart starting at 7 p.m. with no end time announced. Don't really think that works. Don't think that's very well thought out. There is some kind of a modification that's going to happen, but today we proposed a comprehensive plan which involves multiple voting locations in person in Springfield, Chicopee, the Berkshires, which provides mail-in voting in outlying areas like Lakeville, Freetown, Narragansett school system, which provides suggested voting windows. Say Brattleboro Co-op, you might vote 10 to 12 on a given day. Would also propose multiple days that people could vote. So you could vote in Brattleboro from 10 to 12. You could do Greenfield or Gil Montague a couple hours after that for like 2 hour window, see how it works. You would have mail-in voting in surrounding areas. You would have enough places in place for people to vote during the day. You have 4 election judges. You have an election chairperson and 3 judges. So you have 4 people that could be out. You could have 4 things going at the same time, and you could get it done. And again, because we're in a pandemic, because half of the country may very well vote in the general election November 3 by mail. So why can't UFCW Local 1459 do the same thing? So far, no clear answer on that. It is interesting to note that the president, Tyrone Housey, released a video late at night from an undisclosed location, which doesn't really matter, in which he was talking about the nomination meetings and thought that it went really well and talked about a few other things, but then said that he didn't have his supporters there because he didn't want to take the risk of having an upsurge in COVID cases because of that, and said, well, I talked to my opponent about that, and they brought their people anyway. So there was never any discussion. That's a complete fabrication. You can just put that on the list with all the others. But the main reason I bring it up is to bring to your attention, this is the same person who is worried about COVID spreading in a nomination meeting, but currently is satisfied to have an election procedure where potentially 4,500 to 5,000 people show up at one location, 6 feet apart at 7 p.m. to vote in person. And that's not a COVID spreader moment? That doesn't strike home? Please explain that to me, Mr. President. The other thing I would say is that he also tried to distance himself from the incident in the parking lot. And I'm not going to get into that. I think the legal system will play itself out on that. I would only say that that's the kind of person that was nominated on the executive board slate that he put forward in nominations. So is that really the kind of leadership that you want? Is that the kind of accountability that you want, that things like that are? There was no declaration that he's off my executive board slate as of this moment. There was nothing about that. It was basically saying that he was inside cleaning when the incident happened. And he probably was. But there's still a very clear connection between that person and your slate, and I think a little bit of accountability is in order, and we have yet to see that. And that's really all I have today. Just to keep your social media comments in a respectful fashion. We don't need to go down to that level of where other people are at. And stay strong. And remember, solidarity works. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.